Great. So, thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to share with you my More Profitable Me framework that I use with clients. And so just to introduce a little bit about me and why this and why now. I am really passionate about what I do. I really, really love working with clients, and I love making things simpler for them and helping them be organized and do more of the work that they love. So I really love what I do. Like I said, I have the skills, I have experience, I have a long career, I say a long checkered career in various different industries, in various different departments. I didn't really have like a straight career path. And I've spent my time like 50-50 in large corporates and small businesses. But everywhere I've gone, I've immediately sort of gone into the business and looked at what people are doing and just naturally try to make things easier. And I can see where people are doing things twice, and I can see where things are more complicated than they need to be. And so my passion has always been to simplify things. And so when I worked in my last job through COVID, I worked with a lot of small businesses and startups. It was a business consultancy, and I've been wanting for a while to work for myself, but always too afraid, and thinking, well, I know what to do with other people, but it's very risky doing it for yourself, and then it's just you, sort of just you in the whole business and no one else doing anything. And so I was afraid. I was afraid of getting started. I was afraid of charging people money for things. I was afraid of the time it would take and whether I would be good enough, really. And I think that's really common when people start up, or when people are on their own in a business, and especially women like us on our own in businesses. Quite often our friends will say to us, oh, why do you want to do that, or you're working a lot of hours, Sarah, like stop, stop, when are you going to rest? But things are really full on when you have your own business, and if you don't do it, who will? So when I did eventually pluck up the courage and start up just over 3.5 years ago, I was thinking how I can work with clients and how I can make it clear to them how things work and how I work in my own business. And don't get me wrong, I've been there overwhelmed, I've been there charging the wrong prices, even though I tell my clients to charge more or charge their worth, or I tell them, to not give away so much for free. But anybody who knows me will know that that is the opposite of what I do. So it is a little bit of, don't do what I do, but use the framework to help yourself. So I've started using the framework in my business too, which I should have done from the very beginning, but, ADHD as well. So that's really hard to do, is to take what you use with other people and use it on yourself. Really, I need another me to come and do that. So why now with the framework, and why launch it? So I recognize now that I am at capacity with one-to-one clients. There are people that want to work with me, but I don't have the time to actually fit them in right now. And that's heartbreaking for me, because I think that people really need the help, and especially one-person businesses. And also that if I want to help more people, there's some people that are still in a situation where maybe they're not quite where they want to be with income. Maybe they're not quite where they want to be with clients, and they're very afraid or reluctant to spend money on a consultant like me to come and work with them to help them improve things. And you have to conserve where you want to put that money and where you want to put your energy. So what I decided to do was to launch the framework, to launch a community around the framework that works on the principles of the framework, which is a much more affordable option for people to come and join. And also we'll build that community that I talk about in the framework of people, like-minded people, who can come together, who can ask each other questions, who can have that support network within the community that I'm building. And also there, then I can share the resources. People can go at their own pace. They can ask a question in the community, but they're not getting that one-to-one time. They'll get workshops and things like that. And my thought was that with, packaging it up in a little bundle like that and allowing people to come in and out when they have the time, but also having some focus sessions where they can come and keep that momentum up once a month or maybe twice a month, that actually I can help more people to take steps forward in their business rather than be feeling left on their own, be feeling like they would like to have consultancy or they would like to work with a VA, but they're just not there yet. So yeah, so that is why I have put this together. And I think my message overall is that you can do more of the work that you love by being more organized and efficient in the back office, by trusting yourself and trusting those around you to help support you, lift you up, and by also knowing that what you do for clients is valuable. They love it and they really love working with you. You love working with them. You can do more of that. And you can outsource some of your stuff for not very much money when you consider how much you charge for your service. And when you are in that position where you have your headspace in that business place, that all of these other things start to slot into place. And then rather than being a passion-led, heart-centered, self-employed service provider or practitioner, you become a business owner, and what you have around you is really a business engine rather than you wearing all the hats and running everything yourself and getting overwhelmed, being underpaid, and sometimes quite frankly feeling like, is it worth it? Shall I just give up? So what I wanted to talk to you through today is the framework that I use with clients, and it all starts with thinking like a startup. So this is where step one of the framework is going back and doing some of the critical thinking that startups do when they actually make their first steps towards having their own business. And I've worked, like I said, with a lot of startups, and understanding the problem that you're solving is a really good place to start. Why do people need you? What problem do you solve? What pain are you taking away from them? When and where do they get this painful stuff? So for some of you, it will be because they're transitioning in their life one way or another, or it will be because they're not feeling themselves, or it could be because they are looking to take some steps themselves. Like for me, they're looking to take steps to grow their business or to start a business, and they really don't know what to do. And that's where I come in. So thinking that through, what problem you solve, who it is it that you're solving it for, when and where they experience the pain, and why really you are the right solution for them. So I don't know if you guys have ever gone back and done this or thought about it when you started, or whether you just fell into it. I kind of knew that I really wanted to do it, but I kind of just fell into it. And even though I do this with clients all the time, I'd never really done it for myself until last year. And I was working with clients already. I was helping them to make more income, to make more profit, to be more organized, to be more relaxed about what they do. But I really hadn't cracked the who it is that I am doing it with or for. And now I know that it is women who are in the service business, and they absolutely love working with clients. They're very passion led, and they're struggling to get the income or achieve the income that they want. They're struggling to manage life and work. they're struggling to find the right clients or find the right connections or be in the right places for networking. And I help them to kind of bring that together so that they're more clear about what it actually is that they're looking for in every conversation that they have. So going back to the beginning and, and thinking like a startup is really where you want to be with this. So I liken it to like the foundations of a building really, is without these foundations, how do you know that when you're posting something on social media that it's going to be the right thing? How do you know that when you're talking to someone, at a meeting or you're explaining what you do to someone, that they get it or that they are the right people to have in your circle? So in the workbook, and I'm just going to share now, one sec. Oh, this is where it all goes horribly wrong, ladies. So I'm sharing now. Let's just get this out of the way. So hopefully you guys can see that. So the questions that you're asking yourself is, what specific problem do you solve? So the specific problem that you solve might be a statement that you used, that you can explain like in one sentence what it is that you solve for other people, and the exact people that you solve it for, so who they are. Do you have a client that absolutely meets your target audience? They can be like your avatar. So when you are talking about your business to anybody, or you're posting on social media, or you're producing anything for marketing, or you're doing an ad in a magazine, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're talking to that one particular person. And by talking to that one particular person, you are not cutting out everybody else, but you're attracting that kind of person that really is the one that needs to work with you. You're saying the things to them that really resonate with them and really help them to come to the conclusion that to solve their problem, which they know they have, but to solve that problem that they have, they need to come to you. And with that, you're not cutting out everybody else. What will happen is that some people who are really not your ideal client will find you anyway. They'll want to work with you anyway because they like what you do, or they've heard that you're good at what you do. And so focusing in and speaking to that one ideal client will actually attract them and people around them as well. And you can work with anybody. So saying your ideal client is a particular kind of person doesn't mean that you can't work with other people. So I've just said who I work with, but actually I work with some small businesses as well. So I don't work just with solopreneurs or single women in business. I work with small businesses as well. But when I'm talking, it's not small businesses I'm talking to. It's people like you on the call who are on their own in business and do need help. And then some small businesses recognize that they need that kind of help too, because they've scaled from being that one person business, and but they haven't put those foundations in place. And then it's not just them that's running around like a headless chicken trying to get everything done, it's the whole team. So just because you narrow that focus down on your ideal client doesn't mean that you won't get clients from other places if you want them. And something that's important to say, that you can also have other client avatars. So there could be more than one service that you provide, and one service doesn't necessarily mean the same client is interested in both. So having more than one client avatar, if you have different kinds of services that you offer. So I know that for Healthy Body, Healthy Mind, you have a couple of different services that you offer, and Some of those have a wider range, or maybe some different types of people that you work with. So I know that there is a lot of men that will use a lot of there's a lot of men that will use your service, one particular service, as well as women. And there's another one that maybe is more women. Men will buy because they'll buy it for their women, but essentially it's the women who are taking that step to use the service that you have on that particular side of things. So there's a difference in your target audience for the different service that you have. And so thinking about those problems that you solve, the exact people that you're solving them for, when they experience the pain that they're having, and why you are the expert solution for them, will help you to bring all of that together. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing. Okay, so hopefully I'm back in the middle again. I don't know, I can't see here, I'm in the corner for mine. Okay, so step two. Step two in the framework is something that's really important and often gets overlooked because it's the last possible thing on your mind, but actually it makes the biggest difference. Um, so when you're working in your business, you only have a certain amount of time. And if you have hobbies, family, friends, you like traveling, whatever it is that you like to do with your spare time, if you don't take control of your time within your business, that could end up encroaching on the time that you have for other things, or that you would like to spend doing other things. And of course, that will add to the overwhelm, and it adds to the confusion of tasks, or it makes things actually in your business slower because you're bouncing from one task to another, or you could be doing something for home and something for work. And whilst I appreciate, that's one of the things that I love about working for myself, is that I can choose to go and have coffee with a friend in the middle of the day if I want. I can choose to clean the house. I don't choose to clean the house. I have a cleaner that comes to clean the house, and we'll get to that in a while. But yeah, so I can put washing on. I can take the dogs for a walk. I can go and have my hair cut in the middle of the day if I so wish, because I work for myself, so I can choose. But when you're so busy in your business and you get to the point where you are fully booked with clients, which I hope, that we all get to that point, if that back office organization isn't sorted, and if you are not doing things in the most efficient way, you end up not being able to work with as many clients as you could. You feel a bit frazzled. You're not sure what stage everybody's at. And you can feel a little bit like time is running away with you. And so I know for me, there's times when I'm in the office late, and I know that Darren is in the house and he's by himself, and he's not happy about that. Um, and it's not that we need to be together all the time, but sometimes we want to do something, and I'm saying, oh, just give me 5 more minutes. I just need to finish, or I just need to do this, or a client's waiting for that. And when you are not taking control of your time in the way that I'll explain, you can find yourself kind of running around, and you make things a lot more complicated. So where I always start with this is thinking about the commitments that you have already. So going back to, what do you love to spend your time doing? What is a non-negotiable for you? So for example, I have 2 dogs. So non-negotiable for me is to walk the dogs. I have to do that. It's a non-negotiable. So that time is marked out every day. So I know that that's not client time, that's dog walking time. And that's good for me as well. Exercise, being outside, that's really great for mental health. It's also great for focus. And so I need to make sure that that time is carved out. If you've got other hobbies, if you are, if you singing, I know is a thing. It needs practice. It needs focus. There's somebody on the call that takes part in a choir. And so that's really important that that time gets carved out and that time is protected. It could be that you have children or grandchildren that you want to spend time with, and and carving that time out, making sure that you are focused on them with that time is really what you oh, we just lost Lucy. Sorry, that I just lost my train of thought as she popped off the screen, but it's fine. Yeah, so thinking about spending that time with your loved ones, with your friends and family, on your hobbies, on the things that bring you energy, it's really important to carve that time out. But do you know how much time you actually need for that? Do you know how much time in the week that you need for that? Because if you don't know how much time you have, then you could really be using that time for working with clients. And then if you're working with clients, you might be earning money, but you're neglecting the other side of the business. Sorry, the other side of your life. So that work-life balance is a really important thing to hold on to. And being sure of how much time you need for your life then will tell you how much time you have left to run your business. So in terms of your business, and I know I did a session with one of the people on the call today, and that session takes a certain amount of time. And I have this with clients all the time. So the amount of time that the actual face-to-face session takes is, let's say, 90 minutes, like this session. But you'll all know that I will have prepared for this session. I will have put together resources for this session. I will have thought about what I wanted to say. And all of that time is work time. And then there's the setting up the system for the registrations. There is putting the event online. There's advertising the event. And all of those things all contribute as well. So does anybody, on the call, have you thought about how much time it takes to actually manage the service that you provide? How much time does it take for you to post about something? How much time does it take to pull together a report for someone, or to prepare a session to go through what you've been doing with your client? And that prep time, whilst I'm not saying you'll charge for all of that prep time in your client time, but you do need to know that to know what your capacity is. Because if you become fully booked face-to-face time, when will that all of that other stuff get done? And not only that, but then there's the back office stuff. So reconciling your bank account, making sure that your software is up to date. There's the networking, there's the one-to-ones that you have afterwards. There's a whole load of stuff in your business which doesn't directly make money. And if you are not sure about how long all of those things take, then you could find yourself in trouble when it comes to working with clients, because you have, that time, that client time, the client facing time just gets smaller and smaller and smaller because of all of the other things that are sitting out there on the periphery. So the questions to ask yourself here are, what are your commitments outside of work? What are the things that bring you joy in your life? What time do you have left after that to work with clients? Or for some people, it could be that they want to work less hours. So what are the hours that you actually want to work? And when you weigh that up with the stuff that you want to do with your life, how does that stack up? And how does that stack up with like client facing time and then the income that you can bring in? And then how long does it really take to deliver the service that you offer? Really, really being honest about the prep time, the aftercare of anything. Then what else takes your time? What else takes your time in the business? Or is there home admin that you need to take care of? And how can you structure this to work for you? So something that I have used many times with clients is talking about your energy. So where is your energy at during the day? Are you an early bird? Are you a night owl? Do you need to go out in the middle of the day? Do you need to exercise to bring that energy and focus back? Do you need to do meditation at some point? What time do you need to eat? When are you full of energy and really creative? Or when are you tired, or you maybe don't want to work the clients in that time, but it might be a good time to get some admin done. So thinking about that structure of your day and how that time comes together, and then thinking about then where those tasks go of all of those things that you need to do. And I'm a big fan of these. This isn't a very good example, but this is a day planner. um but I also have like a weekly planner. So I am all electronic with my diary. I do everything online. But at the beginning of the week, I have a look at what's in my diary. I already only allow clients to book in for sessions at certain times of the week on certain days because I want to batch that work together. I do it on times when I know that I'm going to have the most energy for working with clients. Um, I put networking in. I do networking, and I put networking in when I have energy, when I know I'm going to have energy. And I try to avoid the times where I'm not very energetic, because I find, whilst I love chatting and I love talking to new people and finding out about their businesses, or, meeting, my trusted network out in different places, that sometimes it can be very draining to go to a place where there's a lot of new people. And so I need to make sure that when I go there, I have a lot of energy for that. So thinking about all of these things and trying to plan that out in a kind of rough plan, and I have a template I can share with you where you can think about that, um, will really help you then to sort of hone down this, time that you've got to spend. What's a good use of your time? I have an artist friend, and I posted something on social media, and it said, when do you have the most energy? When are you at your most creative? And actually, she said her most creative time is between kind of 2 and 5 in the afternoon, and that's the time she normally meets people for coffee. And that realization that just by switching that up and meeting for coffee in the morning, and then using that creative energy to then produce more art, or to think creatively about how she works with clients who commission her work, or thinking about, her social media posts and getting those out about her artwork, um, that time is best spent when she has the most energy and she's most creative. So just having that thought process and then planning your time in that way can really help you, take control of your time and take back control of the time that you're spending at work and the time that you're spending with clients. And I'm not saying, work with clients and with friends and family, or on your hobbies. And I'm not saying that you can't mix that up in the day. Of course you can. I do it, and very successfully. But when you don't know how that's going to affect the rest of your day, or you haven't done that thinking, you could end up tipping things on its head and not being able to manage things fully. Okay, so your time is finite, so just make sure that you know where you're spending it, and you're spending that time really consciously on the things that matter to you the most. Sorry, I set a timer because otherwise I will overrun horrifically. Okay, so along with that, it's only a matter of time. The thing that I also, really advocate for with clients is one calendar and one task list. So instead of having notebooks everywhere, or having a paper diary and an online diary, or having a home diary and a work diary, where clashes can occur because you're not looking at both, or with your task list that you're missing tasks, or you are feeling overwhelmed because your task list is huge. There are a lot of methods out there for managing that time, and David Allen, I would highly recommend his book Getting Things Done, because really shows you how to manage that task list in one task list, how to prioritize things, how to make sure that you're spending your time and your energy on the things that move the needle on your business, and in your personal life, rather than just, muddling through everything. And so I absolutely use that every single day of my life. I use Todoist to manage it. So have a think about that as well when you're thinking about your time commitments, and what to spend your time and energy on. Okay, so the next part we're going to talk about is sowing the seeds of growth, is what I call it. And there's just something I want to share with you on the screen, and it is from the workbook. So here it is. So when I'm talking about this sowing the seeds of growth, is really thinking about in your business, what do you do over and over again that either you never do it the same twice, or you have a template for it, but sometimes you don't use the template. Or let's say you're onboarding new clients and you have a client form or terms and conditions or whatever it might be. And I know there's someone on the call here that has a business where the system that they use organizes all of that for them, and if it didn't work that way, it would be a real pain to manage people in and out. They have a property business, to manage people in and out, and to make sure that they're getting the payments on time, and to make sure that those people are getting a link to review and all of that. So those things that you're doing every single time when a new client starts with you, or every single appointment that you have, what are the things that you're doing over and over again, and how can you simplify that for yourself? And when I talk about processes and systems, I am not just talking about how to implement software, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be software. I mean, ideally, if you're tech savvy, then software would be the way to go, especially like customer relationship management systems, or a system that is specifically for your industry that can help you to manage those clients. It's built and tried and tested by other people who have come before you, and by developers that have really thought about your situation. But it doesn't have to be like that. I have a client who works very manually. So they actually have like a students register for their clients. They keep a highlight of the dates that the client has paid for, so they know when the next payment is due. So they sell blocks of classes for things, and they use the WhatsApp groups to communicate with people. So they do broadcasts on WhatsApp, because everybody pretty much is using WhatsApp now. They also have, like manual business cards, manual flyers for things, and they are going out and speaking to people and handing out these things all of the time, and then manually handling all of the inquiries that come in. So whilst that is working for them right now, and it is absolutely possible to manage things in a more manual way, if you have big plans to scale, then the way to go would be to start with that method. Start with templates for intake forms. So what questions do you need to ask your clients every single time? Do you have a template for that? Is it in an email? Is it in a forms list? Is it a paper form that you ask them to fill out? Or do you just ask them the questions? If you do a discovery call, do you have a checklist for that? What do you need to know in the discovery call? What are the frequently asked questions that you get asked that you could volunteer that information in a discovery call? With invoice templates, I have worked with a client recently who was 6 months behind on their invoicing because they didn't have a template. So every time they came to make an invoice, they were making it on Word every single time. It looked different every single time. They did have a sequence number, so that was fantastic. But it's so onerous every time they create the new template that they that they just kept putting it off. And so we went through some methods of how to store that template, copy it over. And it may sound, if you're tech savvy, it may sound so simple to you, but it's not simple for everyone. So thinking about those things that you can do that can make things repeatable, what do you need to know about people? How do you want their payment to come through? How do you send them the information that they need afterwards, after a session with you? Or how do you get a review for them? And having even the simple template set up in an email. So Google Workspace is amazing for creating templates in emails. That you can just use that template. So every time you get a new client, you can just pop that template to them, and it will have all of the things that you need to know in it, or have attachments that you need to get the information you need from the client. Or you have your library of resources that you send to clients, and you know that after the session you've set aside a little bit of time to then email them the resources that they need. So when you implement these systems, whether they're really in their manual stages or whether they're more advanced with systems, repeatable processes and automation, they really ensure consistency. They ensure that you are doing things the same every time, that every client is receiving the same great experience. They're taking that thinking away from, what do I do next? How do I process this? So even a checklist of how you run through all of your sessions with a client is useful. Just to know, have I sent them this? Yeah, I'm looking at my checklist. Yes, I have. And when you get busy, when you're scaling, it is absolutely key to ensure that you have all of these, that you have this checklist of things, that that your client is getting that same service every single time. When they recommend you to their friends, that they're going to get the same service every single time. And for you, that thinking, taking that pressure out of thinking, have I done this? Have I done that? Where am I with this client? What do I need to give them now? Have I followed up with them? When is our next appointment? All of those questions that are just circling around again and again. Or maybe you're remembering that I need to send that document to this client. And then, you put that off, or you do something else. And then you remember again, I really must send that thing to that client. So setting up these processes or these templates, so you can just look and go, okay, this is what I need to do today. These are the things that are in my list. And even something like this can help you when you have those systems and processes set up and in place, that you can then really detail down in that time you have for your work admin or for those follow-up slots, what you need to do, who needs what stages they're at. And then on top of that, with your network and that lead generation as well, when was the last time you spoke to a lead or a trusted partner, or someone that's just really interesting and gives you energy in your network? When was the last time you spoke to them? I don't know, you might not be like me, but I can, sometimes I'm like, I can't remember what we talked about last time, but I have notes on that. I have it in my customer relationship management system. So before I jump on a call with someone or go and meet them, I just refresh my mind about what we talked about last time. The same with clients. When I follow up with clients after our session, they have a list of the things that we talked about, their action points that they need to do, the things that I'm going to do for them. And all of that gets sent over, and then it gets put into a OneNote, because I always use OneNote to take all of my notes electronically. But if you're using a notebook for that particular client, or that you have in there the list of things that you said you were going to do, the list of things that they're going to do, so that you can then manage that through the process and ensure consistency all the way through your time working with them. And then future-proofing delegation. So, you might be a way off from delegation yet. It might be, really scary for you to think about that. But actually, that delegation that you that you will need to do at some point if you want to scale your business becomes so much easier when you have documented processes, when you have systems to handle these things, even if they're manual systems right now. And they can be made electronic by a VA, let's say, so a virtual assistant. If you work with them, they can help you use technology to bring those manual systems um, into an electronic system. And but when you are thinking about scaling your business or working with other people, whether it's an employee, whether it's a VA, whether it's an accountant, if you're scattered in your business, it's so hard to hand it over. It's much easier to do it yourself because you know where the things are, or you will find them if you don't know where they are. And that's your time. It's a little bit embarrassing to hand something over that's in a mess. But actually, if you have these things, these processes within your business, you know what they are, you know what you do with them, you have checklists or you have templates that you use, you know the order of things when you work with a client, it then becomes really easy to hand over portions of that to a virtual assistant or to an accountant or to a social media manager. Because if you have them all ready to go, handing them over and explaining them is super easy because it's already there. And then they can run with it. Virtual assistant will undoubtedly help you improve how you work with those systems and processes, because that's what they do all the time. They work with other people's systems and processes, so they see the difference in what other people do, and that can really help you to improve how you work, because you only know what you know in your business, and the way that works for you may not be the most efficient way of you doing things. And so, yeah, working with other people or discussing these systems and processes with other people helps you improve how you work and then frees up your time to work with more clients. So this whole thing about creating systems and processes may seem really boring. I mean, I love it, but that's me. That's why I do the job that I do. I love creating things like that. I love creating templates. I love putting things in order and helping people to understand how they can make it more simple for themselves. But if that's really not your bag and you think, oh, well, I just carry on doing what I'm doing, think about the time that you spend, faffing around with that documentation or faffing around with that process. You could be working with another client and doing what you love during that time, or you could be spending more time on a hobby rather than trying to faff around with all of that stuff. So really think about what you can do in that respect. And in the workbook, when you get it, there's a little table here. So the business process that you have, it could be, let's say, onboarding a new client. So the business process, how long does it take you to onboard a new client? Do you know all of the information that you need? Are you collecting that consistently? How long does it take you to onboard that client? So from start to finish, from when they say they want to work with you to you sending an invoice, sending the intake forms, getting them back, checking what they do. So for nutritionists, for example, they will need to have a look through the information and assess what the person is doing now, what they might need, what their goals are. So what is that process? How does that look? How long does it take you to do that? What is the cost equivalent of that time that you could be spending with another client if you had this system, more in control and more systematized, more processes, more templates, or even with automation in time or now, however you feel about that automation piece. But those things can be a massive time saver when you're working with clients. And even if you can work with one extra client a week, that can make a big difference to your profitability. So have a think about the business processes, the time it takes to run those processes, what the cost is of that time of not working with a client during that time, so you know roughly what your hourly rate would be. Your hourly rate is something that people think about in terms of hourly rate. It can be like expanded out to like an annual income goal or whatever. But if you are working on your hourly rate, let's say you charge £100 an hour to work with a client, but if every 1 hour you spend client facing, you're spending 3 hours in the background getting stuff ready or helping to smooth that process through of onboarding, etc., etc., etc. Let's say for every 1 hour it's 3 hours, so you're not earning £100 an hour anymore, you're earning £33 an hour. Or maybe it's more time that you're spending on things like that. And and so when you start thinking about the true cost of your time and the time that you're spending with clients, and then the time you could be spending creating a system or a process, or setting up a system, or creating automation, or working with someone to create automations for you, then that time that you free up that is in this business process section here can be used for working with clients. So another little example for you, I was working with a client and I asked them, they wanted to get a system in to help them manage things, but the license was going to be £40 a month. And, but bringing in that system for £40 a month will save them a couple of hours every week. And, when you think that that couple of hours every week that they're saving on admin time that they could be using with clients, let's say that's one more client a week at £100 an hour, and they're spending £40 a month on software. So you see there like £400 extra working with another client, or your versus your £40 to do that automation time. So when you're doing that, thinking about your business processes, and like I say, it could be really boring for you, or it could be that you are a little bit afraid of detailing that down, or you're not interested in the software that relates to that, or you're not sure how that exactly works, that once you have it implemented. Oh, Kai's dropped off and come back. Hello, Kai, you dropped off and come back.
Sorry, no, I lost connection. Sorry,
no, that's all right. No worries at all. Yeah, so I was just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was just saying, with this business process, that if you are, if you're putting these things in place and it allows you to work with more clients, or let's say that you want to cut down the amount of work and you want to spend that time with other people, what price do you put on, spending time with your friends and family, or doing hobbies that bring you joy? So it's not necessarily about working with more people, but if you're interested in profitability and growth, then it definitely is. And weighing up that, what is the cost of this to me, actually? What is the real cost of doing things the way that I do them? And how can I do them better? I can spend a little bit of money on that, but then I can actually take on extra clients and that will pay me back tenfold. So this is the kind of thing that you're thinking about here. And then you've got a little section for the efficiency opportunity. So that is, that could be the efficiency opportunity, could be creating a template, or it could be putting into a system. And it could be that you have these systems already and you're just not utilizing them in the way that actually works for you, and you're paying for a license already, but you're not using all of the functionality. And I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with in my own business and within the consultancy that I worked for, where people are paying for software, not using all of its capability at all. And it's amazing when you start to demonstrate, well, actually, do you know this software can automate responses for that? Do you know that this software can give them access to this and then send them a document? Do you know that the software that you've got can do this, that, or the other? And sometimes people are paying for two pieces of software that actually do the same thing. They're using them for different parts of it, so they think that it's two different pieces of software, but actually the software is really similar. So have a think about the business processes that you have, the time it actually takes you to run them, the cost of that, and what the efficiency opportunities are. So this is a really, really big one. And there'll be another workshop on all of these sections in the future. But this one is really something that you can, that if you think about, could be a game changer in your business to actually become more profitable. Like I say, it's not about putting prices up with clients. It's about using your time more efficiently and doing more of the work that makes the money rather than the back office stuff, which doesn't. And then if you're really, really stuck on this, I do offer a profitability audit on the worksheet that you'll get. There is a link to that. So if you're interested in that, obviously you can go and have a look. But to work through it yourself, and you'll see on here, I think I've got 10 rows in here, but probably it's a lot more than that. You can just add some more rows in and then really think about all of those things in your business. Okay, so moving on moving on to turbocharging your network. So I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 second because I want to bring something up on the screen here, something different. 1 sec. Oh, I've completely lost where it is. Here it is. Okay, so hopefully now you can see what I've attempted to make a flower on the screen. So this is where I want to talk to you about networking and what networking essentially means to me, and how I talk to my clients about thinking about networking. Maybe I should say that again. How I teach my clients to think about the networking that they do. And I would say, for me, I'm going to refer to it as my C-suite, right? So anybody who's worked in a corporate knows about the C-suite. But these people are my C-suite people, and they are the people that I keep around me. They're the people that I spend time with. They're the people I talk to about my business. And, and networking, I guess a lot of people have the idea that networking brings in clients. So it's about referrals, it's about selling yourself. And whilst there is an element of that, what I'm going to talk about today just looks at it from a different angle and puts the referrals and the bringing in the clients on the back burner, and talks about really the people you need to have around you to help you grow, to help you be the best business owner that you can be. And they're the people that support you. They're people that will challenge you. They're people that are going where you want to go, or maybe they're already there, so they could be mentors. And in this little flower, you'll see that all overlapping in the middle. So it could be that one person fulfills several of these. It could be that there is a certain person that does one particular thing for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, hopefully it's going to come up on the screen, but I'm just going to write on here the things that I look for when I am out networking. And the first thing that I look for when I go out networking is for companions. So I look for companions. I look for people that are like me, that I can have fun with. I look for people in the room that I maybe know already, or people that are going to make me feel relaxed in that setting or that environment. Or, when you're online networking, it's a little bit difficult because you get put in the room you get put in with. That's just it. But if there are friendly faces in the room when you join, that is just epic. So I see friendly faces in the room, I immediately feel a lot more relaxed. And for one of the people on this call, there's a lady that we know who does networking, and she absolutely is an expert at that. Her name's Ruth Rood. She runs online women in business network groups and in-person ones in the local area to where I am. And she is absolutely the best at making you feel at home. And she's fun, and she makes the meetings fun. And yeah, she's just a great person to be around. She wants to grow her own business, and she's been in business a long time, so she knows how it feels to go through all of these things. So when you're stuck, or if you want some help with something, like she's a go-to person to talk business with. She's just absolutely brilliant. And so there are lots of people that I have met during my time networking, both here and in Cambridgeshire, where I used to live, who are just absolutely lovely people to be around, and they just make you feel good. So they're the first people that I look for. The first thing I think about when I'm out networking. The second thing I think about is for those people that are my cheerleaders. So my cheerleaders will help me. They'll lift me up when I'm feeling like I can't really do it. They'll share their stories about when they were feeling like I do now, and they'll tell me how they came through it, and how how it's all going to be okay, and just to keep going. Or they will look at the things that I do in my business, or if I share an idea with them, they will, tell me it's great, and they will really bolster me and push me forwards and keep me going in my business. So they're the people that lift me up and make me feel great about what I'm doing, and really validate really validate how I'm moving forward with my business. But there's also, and they could be the same people, the next one is my challengers. And when I talk about challenges, and it will come up eventually, yeah, there it is. So when I talk about my challengers, these are the people, much like my cheerleaders, who I can talk to about any aspect of my business. I talk to them about my plans. I might talk to them about an idea I've got, and they will ask the challenging questions that no one else will ask. So they might be my cheerleaders as well. Oh, Sarah, that sounds amazing, but have you thought about this? And how will that work? And and have you thought about how much time that's actually going to take? Like what is that software going to cost you if you do that? And these people will challenge you, but in a good way. They're definitely not the people that are going to say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, no, that won't work. Oh, no. Or, that's not a good idea. It's not those people. I don't want those people around me. I want the people that say to me, oh, that sounds great, but that'll only work if you do this, this, and this. And or have you thought about trying that, and that? That they're the people that I want around me, because they're the people that are actually going to help me take my business forward. The other people who are going to say, oh no, oh, that sounds like not a very good idea, Sarah. Those are the people that are not going anywhere with their business anytime soon, because to move forward in business, or to grow your business, or even to maintain your business, you need to be constantly swimming. You need to be constantly thinking about, is there changes in my industry? Or what is coming in the future? What things can I do in my business to help myself make it easier? Or even how can I have an exit plan for my business? Whatever those things are, these cheerleaders and challengers, and hopefully they're the same people, they're going to cheer you on, but they're also going to keep it real. And they're the people that you want around you to help you bring your business up to the next level, whatever that is, right? We don't need world domination here if we don't want it. Maybe some people do. That's absolutely fine too. But wherever you want to go, they're with you. They've got your back. They're telling you, yes, you can. And they're also saying, try it this way, or have you thought about that? And they're constantly helping you improve what you do. So on my list after the challengers, I have these collaborators. So as you wend your way around this networking scene, wherever you're going, there will be some people undoubtedly that you think, aha, I'm aligned with them. We did it at the beginning of this call. There were two people on the call. They do something in a similar arena, and there could be something good that they could do with each other, and that could be a really amazing collaboration. You never know unless you have your mind open to that when you're out networking. And so thinking about that collaboration piece, who is around you in your network that can help you to connect with other people who you might be able to collaborate with. Who are those people who can also enhance what you do? You can enhance what they do. You could build something together. I know there's people in my network that actually run workshops together. So they have different disciplines, but they run workshops together, and they do a 50-50 split. So that is like a product that they produce together. So who are those collaborators in your network that you need to think about? And then on from the collaborators, we have the champions. And these champions are going to share what you do with the world. So they absolutely love you. They could be clients, right? So it's not just about the people that you meet out networking, but who are the people that's going to tell everybody about you? Who are the people in your network that are going to say, oh, do you know what? You should speak to Sarah about that. She's really good at that. Or they're saying, oh, I worked with Sarah and I did this and it was absolutely amazing. You should speak to Sarah. And I'm not talking about referrals here necessarily. Sometimes it will be about referrals, but the champions are also telling the collaborators that they need to come and talk to you. They're finding companions for you because they know what you're looking for. They're finding those cheerleaders and those challenges. They're your eyes and ears around the networking arena, and those champions can absolutely lift you up as well. When someone comes and says to you, oh, I met this person at networking over there and they said I needed to talk to you about this, it feels so good that someone else is thinking about you. And when you're out networking as well, you are these people. You can be these people for other people in your network. So you might be their cheerleader, their challenger, their champion. There will be people that you think about who you recommend all the time, or that you tell other people about all the time. So have a little think about who is there. And then you've got the people that complement what you do. So they are the last ones on my list here. So they complement what you do. You may not want to collaborate with them, so that they may not be collaborators, but they have complementary services. So for example, in my network, I have a web designer. So I can build web pages and landing pages, but really it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't collaborate with them. I don't produce a package with them, but they have a complementary service. So I have one-to-ones with them regularly. I see them around in my network, and they would be my go-to person. Actually, I have 2 web designers there. I have a couple of VAs in there because a virtual assistant really complements what I do. We don't really collaborate together. Sometimes we do have one VA that I collaborate with, but we have a complementary service. So if you work with me and we get to the point where you need additional help and you need a virtual assistant, I have a few virtual assistants, and one of them will suit you, because not everybody that you work with will suit you, or not every virtual assistant is the one for you. I know so many virtual assistants, and it took me a really long time to find the one that I wanted to work with. But the other virtual assistants, recommend them all the time, recommend them to other people all the time, or refer clients to them all the time, because they are brilliant at what they do. They just weren't quite the right fit for me. And clients have worked with them and they're having, an amazing experience. So when you think about your networking and you're going out there and networking, it isn't the traditional thinking about selling yourself and about making those referrals. It is about building this trusted network of companions, cheerleaders, challengers, collaborators, champions, and complementary services, so that you can then, you can have a conversation with people about various different topics, and then be dropping someone's name in, that's in your trusted circle, and they will be doing the same for you, and that will bring clients to your door. So by doing all of these things and building your trusted network, you actually then can expand what you do. You can grow your business, and especially if you want systems and automation, or when we move on to the next stage, which is delegation. Like, who in here have you already thought, oh, when I'm ready for a VA, that's the one for me, that I'm keeping them close, I want them, in my network. Who is it that you've met that's really great on social media manager? When you're ready for that, who is that go-to person that you're going to get? And in the meantime, you can send a load of other clients their way if you want to. You can talk them up, you can share ideas with them. Maybe you can even do a collaboration, but who are they in your network? And so if you're preparing these kind of things in your network, then you'll be absolutely ready for the next stage, and also you'll have the people that will keep you going when you're not feeling it. And the last part of the framework that I want to talk to you about is discovering delegation. So once you have sort of thought about who it is that you're working with, why, what problem you're solving, all of that situation, you've got your time under control, and you're spending the maximum amount of time you can with clients, but you've still got that work-life balance. You've introduced systems and templates and processes and automation to help free up your time to work with more clients. And you've got this support network around you. And I should say, for that networking piece, it happens all the time, right? You don't need to wait till you've done the other things to do that thing. That thing is happening all the time. It's just a different mindset around it. So when you have then got this network around you, if you want to grow your business more, the next step is to hand off some of those things that you don't want to do. So what things do you really, really hate doing in your business? That's the question to ask. And, what do you hate doing in your business? What do you do in your business that eats up all your time and is really not your forte? It might be fun to do. Like, I love making graphics, but it takes me forever because it's just really not what I'm good at. So what don't you like doing? What are you not very good at and it takes up too much time to do it? How much time does it cost you? And we're going back to that time versus money kind of analysis. How much time do you waste on doing those things that you either don't like doing, that suck all your energy, or that you're not very good at? And who is in your network that you could hand that work over to? And I'm going to talk the icky thing about money again. Like I say, if you are earning £100 an hour for what you do, but a VA costs £30 an hour or £35 an hour, it makes perfect sense to hand over like 2 hours of stuff that you don't want to do to someone else, so that you could see two clients, let's say. And that kind of thinking around investing in your business, it isn't about holding everything really close to you. It is about that what can you do in your business to free up time? And one thing I did say, I would talk about my cleaner earlier. I hate cleaning the house. It isn't relating to my work whatsoever. But when my cleaner is here spending all day cleaning my house, I can be doing the stuff that I love, which is working with clients and thinking up templates and processes and designing stuff that that brings me joy and fills me with energy. So that is the framework in a nutshell. the last, the very, very last part and the thought for my next workshop is going to be around, planning for your future, what to do with your business, how to take it to the next level in 2026, and thinking about what is next for you, diversifying your income maybe, or scaling back so you can spend more time, I don't know, sailing the world, let's say, whatever it is that you want to do. So yeah, so all of the things that I have talked about today, which which are step by step, gradually improving your business, getting it where you want it to be, efficiency wise, income wise, and all of this stuff without racking up your prices and and going for that really high end. And there's nothing wrong with that, that way of working. If that's your clientele and that's your audience and that's the people that you want to work with, that's a whole nother session in itself, is how to program that kind of stuff out. This really is about the fundamentals of your business, becoming more efficient, becoming more profitable, and spending more time doing the things that you love.